Lunar Classic is coming towards the end of a correction, which means it's very likely we're going to see the price go above the September 8th high over the coming weeks. Today, I'm going to cover two key patterns with you that if you can see and spot in advance, it will increase the probability of buying the low and selling the top. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let's dive straight into Terra Luna Classic. So in our last few videos, we pegged the top quite nicely. Now, we didn't know how much it was going to overextend, but we were pretty much on the money when we said, look, the price is, because of the FOMO, fear of missing out, this wave is a hopium wave. It's a euphoric wave. It's a greed wave. And if it's like this is where you want to be taking profits. And that's what we were saying over the last few weeks. And we have had over a 60% correction. Now, the key things you want to keep in mind is corrections normally occur in three waves, and pinch of salt, because this was so overextended, the first leg of the correction looks very steep, very steep. So we want to look at this and we're going to dive into a bit more detail. So this is a daily chart. We're going to dive into a 60-minute chart. But before we do, I'm a big believer in simplicity. So I've created the 4 Secrets Crypto Trading Masterclass so you can learn how to be accurate with the markets and be 2 steps ahead, as opposed to the losing crowd, which are normally 2 steps behind, because we use 4 secrets. And we're going to cover some of them with Terra Luna Classic today, but it's how we are ahead of the game and we can anticipate corrections. And now we're going to anticipate the end of a correction and potentially the next surge. So the free masterclass is in the description link below. I'm telling you, it will take your trading to the next level. So now we're on Terra Luna Classic on a 60-minute chart. So again, just a quick reminder, what we're looking at is applied market psychology, crowd psychology. And markets typically move in a 5-wave structure followed by a 3-wave correction. Now, initially, this potentially looked like the correction, but because we've had this move up and this next move down and it's gone just below this point, we've just reevaluated to say, actually, it looks like this is a wave A, a wave B, and it looks like the final part of a wave C. So Terra Luna Classic, I've just done some Fibonacci price, Fibonacci time, Elliott wave patterns, and this is the high probability zone. If we look at the price, we're talking about 0.0002 to around 0.00018. So 3018 is the typical range is likely to go to over the coming days, and it may reverse. But there's 2 patterns I told you that you want to be on high alert for. The first one is actually an Elliott wave rule and a guideline. So Elliott wave theory, 1800s, 1900s, this genius called Ralph Nelson Elliott figured out that the markets are driven by crowd psychology. And he looked at hundreds of years of price data and figured it out. And crypto has only been around since 2009. Luna Classic has only been around for a few months, right? A few months. But who is buying and selling? Well, it's humans, people, it's crowds. And this is what's been reflected in the price action. So one of the guidelines is most corrections end in the 1 lower degree wave count, form a wave 4. Watch, yeah, speak English, mate. Speak English. All right. Well, we've had this 5-wave structure over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4 that we're referring to. And this surge of a wave 5 overextended. And then this is the correction. So where is the wave 4? Here. So a lot of corrections, this is a guideline, not a rule, would end in the range of the former wave 4. So now you can see that we're in that price range right now, right? We can see that price range right here. And it coincides nicely with what we projected in terms of retracements and some other Fibonacci ratios that we've got down here. So that gives us a good clue that we're coming towards the end of a correction, a 3-wave structure in the former range of the former wave 4, right? So that's the first pattern guideline that you really want to be aware of. By the way, I'm telling you, if you haven't taken this already, I would just suggest pause this, learn the 4 secrets and come to this, because it will make so much more sense, because I really do double down on pattern, how to identify trends in a logical, mechanical, non-emotional way, and then how to use leading indicators where you're anticipating what's likely to happen next. A lot of people use lagging indicators, so they're always 2 steps behind, trying to chase the trend. Here we're anticipating the trend. So the second pattern that I'm going to cover with you, by the way, this is a free masterclass. The link is in the description link itself. So what we're going to do next is a pattern reversal signal, right? And there's a few that I'm going to share with you today. So I'm just going to zoom into this part of the market. Right, we don't need to go into too much detail. We're just going to keep it really, really simple, really logical. So what we're looking, just reminding ourselves, right? Let's just have a quick reminder. What drives price? Okay, it's buying and selling. Okay, who does buying and selling? There's herds of you. There's millions of other people. There's the big boys, there's the small boys, there's the retail, there's the institutional money, there's hidden money, there's this, that, and the other. All types of buying and selling behavior. That's what's being reflected over here. And rather than trying to catch a falling knife, like it's falling and trying to catch a falling knife, that's quite high risk. What you can do instead is wait for something called a pattern reversal signal. Something that signals that the trend has reversed, the correction has ended, and that we should anticipate further moves to the upside. So there's a few. There's late signals, which are stronger signals, but they're late. So in other words, if the price goes above this swing high over here, either this one or this one over here with confidence, that will be a strong indication that this correction has ended. But the downside is it's quite far away from the market. So there's a trade-off. You can wait for the stronger signal, but it means you're missing out on this part of the move. So you can either wait for the first pullback and then look to take action there. The earlier signal is not as strong, but it's an earlier signal, which means you can get into the market sooner. But the trade-off is not as strong. That's just the nature of the markets. So what would be another signal? Well, it's this swing high, this swing high, this swing high, this swing high. So this is the last swing high where the price has made a high and the price has gone lower, right? If the price goes lower than this point over here, we can even say this point here because it's the closing price over here, then this will be the swing high. So what you could do is just wait for the price. Let's just say it goes further down and it tags this range and then goes above this point. That would be a strong indication, because we can only do probabilities and never certainties, that this low is going to hold, and then we're going to see the market continue to new highs, right? Hopefully that makes sense. It's not really a trick, it's just one of the safest times. This is a third bonus one, right? I said two, but I'll give you a third. It's something called an overbalance of price. What does that mean? Well, even if we just take this recent trend to the downside, even if we do take this part here, right? The biggest move to the upside has been this, right? So that's the recent biggest buying behavior to the upside. What we would want to see, if I just change the color of this arrow to, let's just change the red for now. What we want to see is the new price action to be greater than the former, even if it's by 5-10%. That's called an overbalance of price. It just tells us that the bulls are taking over, the buying power is taking over the selling power. And if it's in a 5-wave structure, this is a fourth one, that's two bonuses. A fourth bonus or a fourth one is if that upward movement is in a 5-wave structure as opposed to a 3-wave structure like this over here, that again will be another confluence of events to say this is a strong signal that the market has reversed. So we've got a swing high exceeded, a 5-wave movement to the upside, which is bigger than the former move to the upside. That in itself would indicate that this will hold. It has a high probability at least to hold. And then what you could do is wait for a simple A, B, C pullback. Doesn't always occur, but when they do, it's pretty predictable to predict that the end of this, and then you can look with minimal capital exposure to ride the upside. And that's what I cover in the 4 Secrets Crypto Trading Masterclass on how you can do that in advance. So you're waiting for particular signals, momentum patterns, pattern and price, and so on and so forth, in a way that you can just apply to all your cryptocurrency portfolio. So what we're going to finish on is, if we just zoom back out, just get the pattern back into action, is what are we anticipating and why? Well, after a 5-wave move to the upside, we normally call that a wave 1. I did a former video on this. I said, a 500% surge in Lunar Classic. And the reason for that was after a wave 1 and a wave 2, this is like a macro count, the market has done a a bullish sequence, then there's normally a correction. A wave 2 is referred to as a retest of wave 1. And the typical maximum is 78.6%. And we're close to that range over here. What typically occurs next is just the next impulsive wave. And I drew this in advance. Let me just see where I drew this from. Yeah, it's pretty much the same target. I can move it just maybe a bit lower down. And we anticipate a wave 3. That's what we anticipate. That's the most typical, most common. And that's what I was referring to at the beginning of the video, where this is the September 8th high. And we're likely to exceed that over the coming weeks and months just based on the buying and selling behavior. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed, because there's other types of complex corrections that can unfold. But this is what we're just placing the odds, or playing the odds. Is there anything else? Let me just have a look. Yeah, it's still around a 5x potential, which we can ride. So if you found today useful, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let's finish on a quote. It's one of my favorite quotes from my book. It's from chapter 5. It's from Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So when it comes to crypto, one of the most difficult things that I found, especially when I'm looking at my students, is news. There's constant news, and there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There's fear of missing out. There's hopium, there's euphoria, there's greed, there's fear. It's all of these mixed emotions, and it can be quite confusing, because one piece of information is saying, this, the other piece of information is saying that. It's like, which one do you go with? And it can wreck your mind. And then there's all these other things to consider. So I like to keep things really simple. 4 things. And those 4 things are covered in my free crypto trading masterclass, which is now absolutely 100% free. So you can take it, learn it, but it's less is more, because there's thousands of indicators. I just use one. It measures the rate of change, and it gives me mechanical, objective information that doesn't require any emotion. So it doesn't matter what the news is saying. I can just look at the price action combined with the trend filter that I use. I'll show you that in the masterclass, and some other factors, basically the 4 secrets. And then I just apply that time and time again. And even if we're correct 3, 4, 5 times out of 10, when we're right, we ride the trend. And when we're wrong, we minimize our capital exposure by making a small profit, break even, or taking a small loss. And that's just the business of trading. So check out the masterclass. I'm telling you, you'll love it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you very soon.